anywhere in my room and have a good, nice background view without cluttery stuff. I got my bookcase to go in my bathroom. I'm connecting my charger. So we have a package, and it come from Ellen today. I'm just passing time so people can come on. All right. I'm gonna go in this way. Oh, she sent me two. Wow, she didn't have to send me two. Okay, so guess what this is? Remember I said I have a new background? So it's probably, I have frames, as soon as I figure out where I put them. Because this is going to go up on my wall. Oh, snap. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Everyone, these are all of the dolls that I hand painted for VIEdolls.com. Yes, this is a poster of all the dolls I designed. That's hand painted. That's prototype of Elena. There's Melina. That's hand painted. There is Alexis. That's hand painted. Kawani, hand painted. And yes, that is the prototype of Tatiana. Yes, so this is a poster that I'm actually going to have hanging on my wall as my backdrop. I'm going to hang it up there. I'm actually going to do this. I'm being nosy. I'm listening to what she's saying. So what do y'all think of the poster? By the way, Ellen might be able to get these by request, but I think you would have to, they would be sold. Oh my God, imagine if I was doing a signing. Oh my gosh, that'd be great if she could buy these and had them sent to me and I can autograph them. Actually, if you want to buy a poster of the dolls like this, message Ellen now and she can probably get them because guess what? She will be here the end of this month. And if all of you put in an order to get one, I will autograph them at the end of the month because she will be here in North Carolina. Me and her are going to spend a whole day together. And if you talk to Ellen about buying a poster, and if you buy one and she can get them in, I will autograph them. Oh, yes. Tatiana has a beautiful head, a beautiful, beautiful face. I love her new hair that's coming out. I'm going to find my frame real quick.
That shit comes off easy. Them things around there, cause my picture
Mama,
you had enlarged.
I'm on YouTube and you're
Well,
cussing.
Donna, don't tell me it.
And loud. Oh, Jesus. So I'm probably going to replace Daenerys Targaryen, the poster in, and hang it up there. I'd rather have a white frame. I really like this. Oh well. I designed this, so it has to go in this frame. I did design this poster, and this one I can put up. Okay, so Daenerys Targaryen, which I do have a Barbie of. I got enough doors. She'll go somewhere. Dixie, I do not want you near this poster. I'm not even joking. Will you stop acting like you crazy? God, I know you got a burst of energy. Oh yeah, it's gonna fit in this hair frame. I told her what size and Dixie, you're acting like you won't keep track. So I have someone that is obsessed with me, everybody. I went to tenor.com. They have made a slew of memes of me, and some of them are not flattering. I have an obsessed person. I don't like that. Oh yeah, this fits perfectly. I don't like the fact that someone is taking my videos and making memes of them. I'm not Madonna. I'm not like that, but apparently they want to make me famous. It's just weird. Okay, so see that? I'll show you in a minute. We're going to frame it up. All right, let me go ahead and speak to some of you before I mess up. Hello, PR Bambi. Haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Tis. Hi, Amber. Yep, it'll fit the frame. Yes, I'm opening a poster. I'm getting ready to show it to you. Okay, hi, Elizabeth, Erica, JC. All right, everyone. Let me go ahead and get this closed up. Oh my God. Lord have mercy. I swear my mama cusses like nobody's business. No wonder I be getting mad and slipping up and cussing. You know, you end up picking up that stuff around people that you are around. See, everyone? These are all the hand-painted dolls. I think you can probably get one by request. I did request for Melina to be bigger and in the middle because I love this photo. But these are all hand-painted. I have 2 posters of this. I believe that's all she made. I don't know if she did any extras, but I wanted this to be the background to go with my dolls back there and to be my backdrop because American Girl is not going to give you a poster this big. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, if you don't send it to me or give it to me, then I'm not going to promote it. But then again, I work with this toy company as a designer. So, hey. But anyway, if you like these poster, I'm going to post a picture up on my doll page and everything and show it off. So we're framing it up. And I just told you what I'm doing. You've always asked questions when I'm busy. I'm going to collect them. Not really. So this is the hand-painted Elena. Yes, she's big. Look, her head, I mean, she's almost my size. But that one's hand-painted. This is my hand-painted version of Melina. There's a hand-painted version of Alexis. Yes, that is a prototype of Tatiana, but I will be redoing the eyebrows to make them a bit bigger and thicker. I mean, not bigger and thicker, but basically the same, but more prominent, darker. And that is the hand-painted version of Kawani. So, and they're all in this big, beautiful poster via Doll Friends. Well, I hope all of you that like Tatiana, I hope you pre-ordered her because she's at a good sale price to be pre-ordered. And she's really pretty. And she's not going to have the same body. And she's not going to have the same hair color. Brett said Logical. I went to tenor.com. Oh my God. And I saw a lot of memes of me by some obsessed fan. Well, some obsessed hater, actually. Yeah, more like an obsessed hater. I thought it was weird. It's weird when someone is that obsessed with you. And it kind of freaks me out in a very bad way. It's really freaky. I am my mama. She's never happy. Seriously. It's probably driving me damn crazy. Alright. There we go. I done apparently with moving. This side, the other piece got lost. They are using them in a bad way. But then again, think about it. I'm not the only one. If they're making memes of me, they're making memes of other people as well. I've seen bad ones like people. I've seen ones of Madonna and then other people, and then that little girl was like, but you know what? They're just making me popular. But it's creepy. That's an obsessed person because I am not on your, well, I was because I'm not on your TV screen, but actually I am on some of your TV screens. But anyway, this is a huge, huge poster. Yep. That's it. Jenny Rivera said, baby, haters make you famous. So you know what? They can use all the unflattery videos they want. They can hashtag me. They hashtag Selena Esparza all they want. Go ahead, heifer. Just make me into what you're not. And never will be. Cause you're not me. And you're never gonna be. So I ain't gonna sweat that. Alright. Thank you. Actually, Ellen sent me this. She had this scooped up made for me. And if you like a poster like this, you have to go to VIE.com, message them, put in a request that you want a poster that I just showed if you want one. Ask how much they are. I'm getting ready to hang it. So I'm going to change the background and there we go. We're going to get this changed. It's really high quality also. So I already knew my mermaid was temporary. And she doesn't want to come down. Come on, girl. You got to come down. And you're going to the bathroom. But I got to put it the white bookcase first. Okay, here we are. Oh my gosh, should I put this over my bed instead? Because if I put them, no, because I don't have any VIE dolls over there. So, no. But then again, it's not going to be able to see. You won't see it. Wait, let me try the higher one. High enough. Yeah, I could do it like that. That could work. Where's that thingy? All right, hold on a minute. Where'd you put the hammer? I'm gonna flatten boxes and just recycle them. Where's the hammer?
It's in there, but I ain't through with it.
I just couldn't use it.
Listen, I'll put my pictures where I want to. Why don't you put that one in the closet and hide it?
What one?
The one you fixing to put up. So stop talking about my pictures.
Mama, this is a poster of the dolls I
It's
designed.
still a damn picture.
No, it's a poster of dolls I
It's still a
designed.
picture.
Mama, you're weird.
No, don't you are.
Jesus.
Leave my pictures alone. I done told you.
Oh, God. Why do I have to suffer so bad? Wait a minute, I need something to stand on. Oh my God, I'm too heavy. I might fall on something. Okay. I'm gonna attempt to do this. Oh my God. Hold on, let me get comfortable. You can't do this wearing baggy clothes. You have to wear something that's more form-fitting so you don't fall or mess up. So clothes that fit you are actually better. Oh my God, where'd it go? Okay. Yes, I'm down because I'm changing my top. And I'm not trying to make it into a peep show. Where is it? Okay, fine. I'll wear this one. But yes, I ended up going to Tenor, TENOR.com. And you can look up memes of anyone and everyone. That's what people have to create an account. They make one. I could have fought it. I could have fought that and had them deleted. But I didn't because you know what? I thought about how the person that made those memes of me, I'm like, oh my God, they must really actually be so in love with me that much that they have to take the time, look through all those videos, and create that perfect, what to be the perfect video moment to make a meme of me. And I thought, well, if they are that obsessed, then go ahead and let them be obsessed. Have fun with that. Because I don't even know who they are. But obviously, why you so obsessed with me? Boop, boop, boop. Okay, pull that one out. So, yes, if you like the poster and you're interested in one, message Ellen at VIE.com and request the new poster that I just mentioned on YouTube. There we go. Well, I can see all of them. That looks good to me. I like that. I wish at least the skin color was like that. Well, it is. Okay, let me hit the light. And now let me hit my special lights. Ooh, okay. So the poster is now up. It's so pretty. All right, let me turn around. It's 16 by 20 inches. So now I can come in and give you a better view. She redressed them up and everything. And I had her make them different sizes on purpose so they can all blend. As you can see, there's a map of the world behind them. See, VIE.com. Oh my God.
I mean, it's packed full of bookshelves, packed full of dogs.
Why y'all keep complaining about the other one?
You can go in yonder. I'm not bothering you.
My brother. So yeah, the poster looks really good. I don't know, should I have it here? But then I move it here because I have the dolls. The only reason Tatiana is not up here yet, I have not been to my storage and taken her out of storage yet. So yeah. Hi, Tropical Bro. Good morning, Richard. Oh, the TV's blocking. See, that's what I was thinking. So what should I? I'm looking at how that's set up, the space. So should I move Barbie? Oh my God, that's a lot of Barbies. Yep, I'm fine. I have to deal with haters and my mom tripping. So I guess I'm gonna take and look, you're like, yes, move them. Okay, fine. We're gonna put the poster over the bed. And then I'm gonna move, actually, to make it easier, I think I'm just gonna switch bookcases. Yeah, I'm just gonna move that bookcase over here because this one's more skinnier and that one's more wider. So I'm just gonna slide it over here, let them trade places, and set it there by the bed, and then I have the poster. That's what we're gonna do. Oh my goodness. Well, there's no time like the present, I suppose. Okay. Honey, I'm not even worried about haters because, I mean, you know what? You know what this means? That's giving me more minutes. They're watching my videos, they're watching me. So they're just making my videos more popular and putting more money in my pocket from YouTube. So, I mean, you know, that's just how it is. And you know what? Sometimes the people who say they love you the most are actually the ones who hate you the most. Isn't that sad? But that's true. I don't care. I mean, it's not physically hurting me. So, why should I care? To be honest, I done put holes in these walls. I need a little drink of coffee. She's talking to my brother. My mom. She's like, my haters, they talk about me badly. But then, yeah, they need me. Yep, the haters hate me, but they need me. Because without me, what would they ever do? Okay, fine. Where's the middle of my bed? Yeah. Okay, that's a good spot. And it's already a hole there where I messed up previously. Okay. Da-da-da-da. Push that sucker in. There. Now you can see it. Oh, that does look good up there. Definitely takes away from my shabby chic look, but when I change the dolls over, that's gonna look really good. I don't know what the other piece of this is. I mean, with moving, sometimes I just be like, okay, well, forget it. I don't care where it's at. Okay, where am I gonna put? Mermaid's going in the bathroom. The unicorn can go behind the TV. Of course I have Our Generation dolls. Have you been watching my videos, child? All right, now we have the pretty unicorn to hang behind the TV. Maybe I should just put the, there. Okay, there. Unicorn is up there. Oh my God, I have to take this here stuff down. I have Barbie on side the bed. Okay, let's do this. So I have one more poster left. Okay. I don't know. I think if I was, I think my mom likes me being with her so she can have something to complain about. She loves complaining. My whole life she has. See, here's an Our Generation doll. This one's the one that had the hair clips, but she's wearing a American Girl outfit. I love her face. And I love her hair color. I did not take the movie out. Oh, snap. That's got to go in the other bookcase. Oh, Jesus. I swear. If it weren't for padlock, I'd have no luck at all. What was the doll bottom left? No, that's Kawani. Tatiana is at the top. She's the new version of Tatiana back there. Then again, I'm trying to figure out what left it is. But this was the first doll I did for VIE. Selena was the first. And then everyone else came afterwards. I don't know. I really like, I love them all, really. To be honest with you, I can't really say I have a particular, favorite I designed. Because I love them all. This is my antique doll that I did and finished. I am going to make her wig. I was going to do it on YouTube, but right now I don't know because my mama is so giving attitude. People think I have it easy. No, I don't. Trust me. I'm just a plain Jane. Okay, not exactly. Because when I get my glam on, I feel like I own the world. Whoa, what is that? Where did this come from? Oh my God. I had this sanded and everything. How did that come up like this?
Hey, Brad, this is one to read on Honey, I took a number and called you and told you my address has changed.
Darn. I don't get it. The very first one I did came out perfect. It doesn't matter. Once I put clothes on her, who's going to be looking at her butt anyway? I'm not. Okay. Extra. I can't help it. I love it. What notification is that? Facebook. Someone liked my comment. Well, I'm getting ready to move the doll display. Oh snap, I gotta move the poster. But anyway, so my poster here, Ellen sent me 2 of them. Yep. So what I thought I would do, you see this here poster? I think that of all the viewers I have, if someone purchases, and pre-orders all the dolls that I designed with VIE Toys, which actually right now is all of them, or you can message her. And if you purchase all of them, I will autograph this poster and I will mail it to you myself. But you have to provide evidence. You have to show me that you had it done. I mean, that you pre-ordered Noah, the new Tatiana, and that you purchased all of the dolls that I designed. And this poster is 16 inches by 20. And I will actually take this here poster and I will hand sign it, autograph it, send it to you with a gift. Yep. That's exactly what I'll do. And you have to show like the screenshot where you ordered all the dolls and pre-ordered. That way you show that they are purchased and you have them. Yep. So that way you will have all the dolls and you will get a poster. In the poster, there are only 2 in existence. Okay, I am so not leaving my mugs up here. How do I end up in these challenges? Now y'all see how much work it is for me to provide change and move stuff around to create a different display. It's so much more work than what you think. Because as soon as I move this, all of these, they're going to start falling. Wow. My Afro girl, I love her. The Barbie Extra, I think she's number 1. Okay, see, Cecile. Ugh, I miss her. I know American Girl, they brought back all of the originals. They're going to end up bringing back Cecilia Marie Grace. Just give it some time. Hi, Miss Rosa Parks. See, Rosa Parks. And my mini-me. Oh, God, I'm scared to start moving. Okay, wait. I'm definitely going to move her. Ella Fitzgerald. Did y'all see my Ella Fitzgerald Barbie? I have 2. One in the box. She looks like Dottie Peoples. Yeah, she totally looks like Dottie Peoples. I'm going to set her in front of the TV. Wonder what is she here? Oh, the train. She probably doesn't know what the train is. My mom's chihuahua is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Oh my God, I'm gonna go cuckoo, having to rearrange all of this and move it around. The only reason I didn't stop going live was because so people can just see it takes work to do this. So y'all know Melina in the box. Of course, there's my autograph. I set her on the stool. The new version of Alexis has my autograph as well. Well, of course, y'all know that. Yeah, we're gonna move Barbie over to this other side. Let me figure this out. Because they're gonna end up crossing paths. Okay. The carpet does not make this easy. Okay. Oh. Well, if I ever want to cover my window up, all I have to do is put a bookcase in front of the window. To be honest, I kind of like it. Oh, snap, that's coming apart. I'm going to have to nail that. Great. Actually, that looks cute right there. Oh my god. I don't want to move. I don't want to move that. Gemini holograms are gonna be coming down. All right, peaches and cream. Fabulous fur. Push all your girls back. Oh, silk stones. Definitely. All right, little heifers. See, they're already dropping. Dang. Well, you know, they're part of a rock band, so, you know, it's not telling them what they done got, what they done drank or gotten into, so. Oh, wow, the back is coming on. Probably from the moon. Here went a Flyby Fruity. Limited edition Barbie. This water sprite, I think. Great. Forgot about these dolls. See, American Girl and Our Generation. I'm really shocked American Girl took my idea with that. They because I told them they should bring back the originals, the original American Girl dolls, the original line, and like a collector edition, and they did. Where'd you come from? Turn your head back around, girl. How in the world am I going to get that other case in this spot? Dang, all this stuff is jumping. Oh, snap. What is that? I see hair sticking out. Oh my God. The background is literally coming, the back, it's just cardboard. No wonder these things are so cheap. We're getting there slowly. Very slowly. There went Rainbow High. Oh my gosh. This is a pain in the butt. And I can only go an inch at a time. I feel like Tiana when she starts singing, almost there. I'm almost there. There we go. I have to turn this one around. Okay, now let's see where I need more nails. Dang. And the hammer. Like, where'd I put it? Where'd I put the hammer? All right, I worked up a sweat for today. There it is. ¿Dónde están mis clavos? I swear I just saw them somewhere. Okay. This is going to be weird. Hey, I did put new holes in, so how did they come out? All right, we got that one in. I have to move that $10 here. Will literally be stuck in that. Fine, that's good enough for me. Oh my God. Almost in here. Oh my God, I feel trapped. I'm stuck. My butt's, oh, darn. Oh, snap. It's about to come to. Shoot, how the nails come out like that? For real? They must have been rough with moving. Oh, shoot, it's about to wobble. It's about to fall. It's going to crash. Why is it going to crash? Oh my God, it's going to crash. It's going to fall. I mean, like, literally, it's going to crash into pieces. Nothing loose right there. Ma! Bring me some nails.
Where's your nail there?
I don't know right now, but quick. Please. My shelf is wobbling. It's going to like crash. I have to nail the cardboard to keep it from crashing.
How many you need?
Just bring it. I got a package. I just don't know where to put it. The bottom part's it's wobbling. It's literally about to fall into pieces.
I take the damn shit back.
Oh God. Are you able to hold it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
don't do that.
got it.
Make it stay straight. It's because of the bottom nails that came loose. Oh, my butt just got
It's
hung.
cause you got so much stuff on it, honey.
No, no, no. It's just the way the movers. This is when the movers move.
Oh,
And the way
you shouldn't have filled it up till you moved it.
no, it was back over there beside the bed. It was beside the bed.
I know, but you should have took everything off till you moved it where you wanted it over here.
Well, I didn't think I was gonna have a problem.
I don't think that's gonna work, honey.
It's gonna work.
Well, for your sake, I hope so. Just don't hit me in the hand.
What? No, I'm nowhere near your hand. I'm having to nail the cardboard backing to it.
That ain't gonna work.
No, that's what makes it work. That's what holds it together. All of the nails popped out of the holes.
That's why I hate something you gotta put cardboard on the back.
Darn. I don't have any kind of wood.
Well, stop pushing on it.
Just hold it tight. I got to get this cardboard over to fit to the other side.
Get all these young'uns.
What youngins?
Some of them's ugly, some of them's pretty.
What are you
Some of them's
talking
got
about?
a big mouth.
Oh my God, you're talking about my dolls. Which ones are ugly?
This one up here in the blue jean breeches, the short-legged, the black leather coat on with the two white hair bows in her hair.
Mama, that's the BMR dolls. Those are the BMR Barbies. Oh my God, I can't believe you said they were ugly.
I said she was ugly.
That's the black girl with the purple hair.
Well, I guess you're right. This thing, I hope this is where you go set it.
Well, yeah, that's gonna go back over here on this here wall.
I just hope it don't break loose again.
Well,
Can I go now?
I probably need more nails.
It's all right. Well, I'm gone. It's level.
Oh my God.
Is this the poster you got?
It's on the wall.
The one with the dolls.
Yes, I hand painted every
Oh,
one
ain't
of them.
that cute?
That's I hand painted every one of them, and she made a poster of it.
Oh, Dolph. Oh, that was nice. Oh. I like the one in the front down there the best with the necklace on in the white.
Who? Kawani?
I don't know. She looks like she's the happiest.
Who?
Next to the little girl in the front row.
What color's her hair?
Looks brown from here. She got on dark pink lipstick.
Blue eyes?
Yeah.
That's Alexis.
What in the hell is that?
Oh my God.
What is it?
You.
Well, I didn't know you was on Facebook. You're in there doing all that hammering. What is that I keep in? Got the water flowing.
Oh my God.
One little girl.
I can't believe you said my dolls were ugly.
Well, honey, you can't expect all of them to be pretty.
And you didn't like any of the BMR ones.
Is it something in the damn water case?
What water case? What are you talking about? You talking about the freezer?
No, I'm talking about it here in the water in the floor. Sounded like something was in it.
Probably water. Did you bring the other nails?
No,
Oh my God. Are you gonna bring them?
I don't want to give you all my nails.
I can buy more. They're only 97 cents at Walmart.
Yeah, but I want to use mine.
Mom, I can get more. I got some. I got a whole thing of them. It's somewhere on the bed behind the dolls. I gotta get this thing nailed right so it won't move anymore. No, these here came from the apartment. The movers were rough with this thing. That's how, and the nails came to the cardboard. They just threw it together. You got them?
No.
Mama, are you gonna bring them?
Yeah, wait a minute. Let me get this shit done.
I'm stuck in this corner. Like, for real. And I'm thirsty. I'm parched. Okay, this isn't fun anymore.
Here you go.
Oh my God, you only brought me.
I done brought you half of them, honey.
Well, I'm having to reinforce this sucker. The movers, they were rough with this.
I told you they were rough with the stuff. They broke my stuff and Johnny Dale.
And I don't want to buy another case, but this sucker, the cardboard goes, I'm gonna have to get some thin pieces of wood and nail across the back of it to keep it together. Because I am not gonna pay, I'm not buying another one. It's not gonna happen. I got one to go in my bathroom I have to put together later. You know, I've had this thing since I had my house.
No wonder it's coming apart.
Well, I've had to move so many times. What dolls are behind this thing? I should have told you to cut on my fan. I am sweating. The things we do for our dolls. Oh my gosh. Got that one. Oh man. I mean, this thing was going to come apart. Oh. Somebody fell. I can't believe you said that my dolls were ugly.
I don't know nobody in Irving, Tennessee. This is me, my son Leonard sitting down on the left, and Ismael standing up.
Oh, God. What are you doing? Are you doing a video? Oh my God. Okay. Oh, that was the little LOLOMG Madonna. Mama, you were talking, oh my God, you were talking pure junk about the BMR. All of my BMR dolls. You called them all ugly.
I did not. I just said that in the blue jeans. So stop exaggerating.
The blue jeans. She's the Asian girl. She's pretty. This one? This one?
Yeah, ain't that the one with two big white hair bows?
Yeah. But I think she's pretty. Oh, I'm gonna let her and the Japanese Barbie here, the China Barbie here. I think I might let them switch bodies. They're the same skin color. That's gonna look good. Okay, if I open it, I might not open it. I can't believe you said that. She's one of my faves. I think she's gorgeous. Because Asian girls, that's how they do their makeup and they do their hair like this now.
Me and one of my best friends,
Oh,
Pam,
Jesus.
and my little dog, Kiki.
Our little dog, Tiki. I can't believe she was in here talking about my
I
dog.
can't believe you either.
No, I said I can't believe you were in here talking about them. But you're not used to that though. Oh my God. All right, let's get this sucker where it needs to go. JC. Well, we were both thinking alike. Oh shit.
Many years ago, we was at
For real? It's done come loose again. What a B.
Shut up, Donna. I've been looking through my book.
I'm not talking about you. It's the shelving unit. Oh my God, they just ruined the cardboard. I'm gonna have to get some kind of.
What's the matter? Still falling?
Oh God. I don't have the money to buy a new one. I don't care if it is $30. I don't have it. Yes, it is, but it's there. It's in its place. This bee ain't moving. She is gonna stay right here. I'm not moving it again. But I'm gonna buy. I'll take later on and get some stuff to go in the back to back it up. That made me sweat.
Hell, it's hot in here.
That's why I said open in the
I did
kitchen.
sweat.
Oh, Jesus. I need a fan. My poor peaches and cream Barbie fail. They think I'm fun. Child play. I'm just being myself. You have no. Everybody thinks me and my mom are hilarious. They really do. I'm not kidding. Even her friends. She'd be sitting there like totally dissing my ass, and then she'd be laughing about it. But that was my beautiful. I love peaches and cream. Oh, well, I have a bunch of her. Linda can tell you that. Hold up, hold up. Do I want to go ahead and move my? No, because I don't want no lights getting in my bed. My hair will get hung in it. But I can do my white Christmas lights across the top. That I can do. Here's a plug-in. Damn. That was horrible. I feel nauseous. Oh my God, I feel nauseous. Do we have any kind of little pieces of wood?
No.
You're probably right.
You need to go to the hardwood store and buy you some little strips about.
Yes, you know, the long, yeah. Exactly. That's exactly. See, I mean, we talk junk, but, you know, me and my mom, we act more like sisters. She was very young when she got pregnant. Okay, Miss Cabbage Patch. Hello. I'm not going to put her near sunlight. Okay, baby girl, I'm going to stick you right here in the corner and just hope the bookcase just doesn't fall because this thing just gave me hell. For real.
I'm getting sick of hearing that shit.
Oh, God. Explicit language.
Why she don't answer the phone?
Who?
Johnny gave.
Maybe she's somewhere getting some.
She got yelling down there.
Girl, she letting him play on the phone. She's letting him play on the phone. All right.
Well, she don't let that baby play on the phone.
Oh, no. Shoot, Mama, she probably too old to be watching that little thing. What is he, like 2?
He ain't for 1.
1? Dang, he a big one.
I'll be back in a minute.
Good Lord. I'm going to take Joss and give her an ice swab and make her into another mini-me. This is my Marie Graves. You know what? I'm going to let you sit down, girlfriend, because I enjoy looking at you. That's some good paint work. I did good paint work on that girl. All right, Jean. God, I hope that bookcase shouldn't fall because it's in a corner. Dang. It's probably because the dolls are heavy on there, too. Well, if I put Jean there, she's going to block up the cabbage patch. Maybe I should have put her there. Dang. Mama come up in here talking about my dolls. Talking about, ooh, that one ugly. My dolls are not ugly. That was by my friend Carlisle on Facebook. He's a designer at Mattel Toys. He designed that Barbie doll. Barbie, peaches and cream over here. At least I'm getting this done now, because when Ellen comes to visit me, the end of this month, at least it'll be in some kind of order. Oh, snap. That's right. The lights. Wait on my nails. Y'all see what I have to go through? Y'all just don't know. Where did I see them? I rolled them up and put them somewhere. Now I gotta find my nails too. I don't get it. I just had everything. I just had the Christmas lights. Everything. I just had it in my hands. Where did I put it? I should have just put cream and alcohol in my coffee and made myself a mudslide. Oh, Ella Fitzgerald. Oh, Oh my goodness. Where are my nails? Where are my lights? I don't understand. Where does everything disappear to all of a sudden? I mean, it's just like gone. I had everything where I could find it. Okay, there's my keys. Oh snap, those Cabbage Patch no. Oh, found the lights. Okay, we got the lights. All right. Now I need nails. You know what? I'm gonna need something to go over here so I can unplug this sucker. Hmm. Let me think. Where is one of those things at? Okay, there's one. Oh man, the other one's at the computer. Where are my nails? I saw it. I saw it. I saw it. Is it on the bed? Okay, put the person in the box. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, how about an extension cord? Ugh. Yep, got an extension cord. Okay, I can do that. Nails, oh my god. I'm finding one thing and I'm still losing another one. Ugh. Well, at least what's left of my mind. Now let me think. Mm. So I can put this over here into bed. Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. How lovely are thy branches. I didn't say I was a singer. Well, actually, I can sing opera. I'm surprised I haven't done that yet. Okay. That I can put over there. Darn it, where are my nails? My mom's making me feel bad. She was talking to me about my dog, the Barbie. But then again, what she thinks is pretty, I don't really think it's pretty. So she doesn't have to taste. I do. I don't get it. I have my whole pack of nails.
You done used all them up?
The ones you handed me, and that bitch still popped the willy. I'm about to get some, go to Home Depot, Lowe's, or something. But I'm new. I'm looking for my pack of nails because I'm going to do my lights to hang across the top up here. Oh, Flopsy. Thank God my Barbie Jenny got me getting fall. I love her. Oh my God, where's Elsa? Elsa. Where's my Elsa? Oh, that's Anisha. Anisha doesn't know I'm live. What is a mudslide? Oh my Lord. They don't know what a mudslide is. It's an alcoholic beverage. It's like a White Russian. Mama! I heard that fart in here just as plain as day. Oh my God. Yo, fizzled, girl. Your butt fizzled. I heard it.
You know I ain't done that.
Mama, everybody heard it. Somebody was like, OMG. Like, oh my God.
They do know it now. I was getting a mouth in there.
No, girl. That was not a solid little thing. It had a burbler to it. Mama, here's my American Girl dog you bought me for Christmas that year. I made sure I kept her in my room for her pretty earrings. That's the only American Girl doll my mama bought me. I probably won't ever see another one. Not from mom. Okay, come on, nails. Okay, I know it's not here with my clean clothes. How in the world am I so? I had everything organized until just now, and then I got to move the other case over here. But I got to get this here handed straightened out first. Okay, so that's not there. Oh, there's my Elsa. Okay, my singing Elsa.
Well, Emma done informed me that he ain't gonna be here at his birthday. I told him he never was here on his birthday. Him and Margarita's cooking together.
Oh snap! Her batteries. What? He's gonna be out there with them?
Of course, he's always.
Oh snap! Is she not working? Oh
Hello?
yeah, there she is. I left the colors in her hair for months. I love her. Oh, I love that doll. And she's special. Love you, Jenny. I miss you. Darn it, where are my brownies?
You ain't doing nothing. Alright, you got somebody to call for you, honey? Oh, okay, honey. Alright, well, I got a table in a bag to bring down there.
Darn it, where are my nails? Nails. Where are my girls at?
Oh, well, you know what, Danielle, for my table to work, I got to do,
I don't want to hear all that. Darn it, where are the nails? Why am I not keeping up with stuff? Hey, Dixie. I fixed her bed under the bed.
Yeah, it's gotta be the box. They need to be the box.
God, please help me find the nails.
Alright, I'm gonna go and I'll talk to you
I have to wash these. You've got to be kidding me.
later. Okay.
Hey, Ma. Ma. Oh, found them. Final. Oh my God, they're right in front of me. I'm a blind bat. I am so not awake. This is just pure booty hole madness. Okay. Let me move the baby girls. Cause I keep turning back. This what was. It is not telling what y'all was saying. Oh yeah, Mama blowing it up. Oh God, she did. It. And I swear. Oh, you got them back out? Yes, restring them. Make them joints tight. Cool. Oh my God, I have a stack of American Girl doll wigs. I'm going to list them. I'm going to make them look good. They're brand new. I'm going to brush them out. I'm putting them all on eBay together because I'm not trying to sell them separately or keep them. Yes, this small task turned into a big one because the whole back is falling out again on that. The cardboard sucks. I need wood to go on that. Oh my God, wigs do I have? I don't even remember the dolls they went to, but they're brand new, that's for sure. My problem is I can't even keep up with the dolls that I designed. I mean, that's just how busy I mean, I just don't, you know, I just don't think, obsess or think about it like that. I just do what I'm gonna do and then boom, I'm done. And I'm just hoping this cheap store don't give away because y'all know what? I am not no skinny chick. It's all about that bass, about that bass. Whoop, whoop. Okay, I'm a sure fall if I act stupid like that. Don't you know it? Okay, I'm gonna plug in and stay down there. So, oh, actually, it'd be cute to be up here. Okay, we do it like this. You know what? I might do like a teardrop. I never noticed a train until I let this thing. Oh yeah, I'm gonna let some hang down and then up, round and round. Oh, that's old school. Oh my God, I wish I should have put my computer on. Oh great, they want a message. They can wait. Anisha, I hope you can see this, girlfriend. I saw you try to call. I am so sorry. Anisha, she's one of my YouTubers. I mean, y'all are just amazing, to be honest. Pretty much so many of you that come on and watch, honestly, y'all are just awesome. I'm not saying that to say that either. I found my nails. Let me think. Because the bookcase is going to be here. I'll shorten that one up and let this one hang kind of long. So the posters and the dolls will be lit like a nothing. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. Okay. Let me get my fat butt down. Whoop, whoop. And this here is going to make the dolls light up more. So, yeah. I will put a little nail. Oh, I can do one down there. Because don't nobody sleep in my bed but me and my cat. Me and my cat. And she be trying to sleep on top of me. Okay, there we go. Got the nail turned. Okay. Move. Get out the way. Boss. Okay, that's gonna work. Oh, shit. You know what? That's all right. Oh, snap, snap, snap. Wait a minute. I gotta redo this. Who are you hollering at? Heifer. Why, you just a big old heifer. Like they say in the movie, The Color Purple. Oh, this is gonna work right here with this extension so I can hang up my phone. Y'all do not look at my badukas. I'm sweating like a sinner in church. Okay, not too low, 'cause when I watch TV. Okay. We can do it all night. I don't know who sings that, but it's a song. It's like a real song. This is so not cool. I do not want to hit a nail. Fingernail, that is. I don't want to break my nail. Never want to break my nail. Don't want to break my nail. Hey, hey. Oh, this is going to be easy to cut on, too. Oh, snap. Okay, antique doll from the 1800s. Girl, you got to go over there. Don't be looking at my butt either. Because the hips don't lie. You know, you've got to make him express how it feels. And baby, you know your love is real. Express yourself. You've got to make him express himself. Hey, hey. If you want it right now, baby, show him how. You need a nail, Mary? Okay, that looks good. This is how we do it. Just, God. Now, y'all see how sometimes I plan on doing just a little thing, you know what I'm saying? And then that little project becomes a big project. So something that was starting out so small, look what happened. I need a, oh, oh, I'm so glad I was over there. And y'all don't see all this butt bending over in your face. Child, you would have thought you saw the moon. Okay, let's turn this half around. Okay, there we go. So that bitch lit. Oh, excuse me. I did not mean to say that, but what comes up, it comes out. So that's all lit up. The lights. Isn't that pretty? All lit up. It's going to look good tonight. Mm-hmm. Hey, Mom. Oh, snap. I don't want to break that mirror. Lord have mercy. What we got? What kind of antiques. What kind of comments we got saying? What do you think of this? Mama, she hear us. You know that dog's senile. Her dog that's a crazy ass dog. Look, Cootie Bell.
Oh, I like that.
Anyway, when I talked to Ellen on the phone, I said, Ellen, I need a poster of the dolls that I designed. And I said, but I want Melina, a Japanese girl, I want her to be more bigger because I love the white skin and the black hair contrast.
Oh,
And-
they're all different
Yeah.
nationalities, whatever you call them.
Yes. She's German and something else. She's Japanese and supposed to be Italian, but I don't see no Italian there. Alexis is American and something else. That one, she's Native American, and Tatiana is she's African and Brazilian, I
What is
think.
them little things?
What little things?
Speakers?
Yeah, they're the speakers you complain about.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to make this here up a little bit more. So I was like,
Hey,
Ellen,
Dixie.
the dolls that I designed are
Oh, where'd you find the nails after you used most
over
of
there.
mine?
Mama, you can have as many mine as you want.
I'm good, honey. What in the hell is this?
What? Mama, I see flowers.
Out there for this lace.
Oh, yeah, I bought that antique doll right here.
Shit.
I'm gonna-
now you want it.
What?
Nothing.
I
I got the neck bones in the oven. I'm gonna
Ew.
fix some cornbread and some turnip greens and some of that rice stuff like in a little bag. Fanny give me. I like that.
You can tell we are not white. You're all right. I think that turned out good. That's gonna look good tonight. All right. Oh my God. I hope Ellen's gonna flip. I hope she likes that. I mean, that's what I wanted. I wanted to do something, but like my postcards, I have like these, I received as promotionals. And so I think it looked cute to find the rest of them and have like little cards, like where these here loops are on the wall, and have those in little frames around it that look really good. And oh, now I gotta move the bookcase with them on it. The good thing is this bookcase is brand new, and this heifer is not as wide. And I'm gonna try to fix it where I can reach this little corner, because this little corner right here back, y'all can't even see me. That little bitty corner that is so snitchy snatched, hidden back there. Might as well leave it like that, so if you see me make a fool out of myself, you can laugh with me. And I said the word fool, you know what I'm saying? It's like really a joke, because to be honest, if I make an ass out of myself, that's what I really meant to say. Okay, so before this thing decides it wants to start going crazy on me, I'm going ahead and reinforce with some nails. When you do work like this, come on, y'all, come on. I mean, you're going to say something, and it's not going to be rated G either. It's a PG, parental guidance. It's on my channel description. I do use some adult language. It's in the family. It's in the blood. You know what I'm saying? Okay, where is he that like it was? Oh, shit. That's where it came out. Dang it, I just got this and they already trying to come out like that. It's good when you do this here toward the end. Make your nail, the very tip, bend a little bit, because dang. These cardboard back shelves ain't no joke. You need reinforcements. At least I'm seeing this right now. Dang, I done bent this one all the way up. Okay, what else? Oh my God, I'm sweating. Okay. All right, Curtiville. I had my friend Crystal. We grew up together, and I used to call her Curtiville because her cousin did. Her cousin, when they were little bitty girls, they would be like, Kristen would say, "Come on, Curtiville." Now, I don't have a flat booty. I am a mixed chick. Whew. That's it. Work it, work it, work it, work it, 9 to 5. Well, this is how much, the dolls I designed was very mean to me. It's worth the work. Once it's all done, it is so worth it. Okay, that's it. It's time. Okay, you need to go over that way some more, because I don't want you this close to my bed. Oh my God, I can't even lift this heifer. It's a carpet. And then, oh wait, I need to put a nail through the side, because is it going to work? Will it reach it? Yeah. I need to nail this, because that sucker trying to pop out loose. Get in. Yes, heifer. All right, got that one. Might as well do the other side too, because I ain't got time to be fooling with this later. Oh, hell, I can't get that one. Okay. I need you to slide, baby. Slide. Slide. I'm weak. Where's a man when you need one? Not just for moving bookshelves. Okay, I did it. That thing, oh, that look kind of crooked. Is it? Oh, yeah. Damn. All right, Alexis, that's my girl. I never noticed a train until I opened up my window. All right, girls. Y'all made me work for it. Like, for real. I was gonna pass out. What? Mama, what you complaining about? Lord have mercy.
I'm turning boxes down for you, but they got stuff in them.
Girl, that's trash. Don't worry about it. Leave it like, you know what? Don't worry. It's trash. Like Angela Bassett said in Waiting Next Help. It is trash. All right. Dang. What is you doing?
I'm putting all the trash in the same box.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Can y'all see that? Yeah, I guess you can. Oh my God. I'm closing my curtain. There. That way you see the lights better. Alexis. All right, Kalani, I'm going to turn you a little bit tilted. I got up on a bed putting nails in. I was talking about the cat. And she looked at me, she just, no. Oh, wow, that looks good. Okay, the other ones are going to go up here. That are in their box. I haven't gotten them out of storage yet. Bombastic. Then a fantastic. Oh, that looks good. I got my bouquet of roses. I got some roses. Okay. Dixie's being nosy. She's going to see what you're doing. I'm going to close my door in case you have another fizzle.
yeah.
All right. All right. Oh my. Okay, so gotta go there. Movies, bottom shelf. I'm going, oh snap, I gotta get some wood for this. Yeah, I just remember that. Oh, my bunny. White lady bunny. Hers Cabbage Patch. Can go over here. Okay, college books. Great, I'm not assuming my college books. Yes, I have college books. From Duke University. Okay. Okay, I need my bunny. Oh, dang, all my Barbies and gym dolls just laid out like nobody's business. All right, set you there. Set that regulation doll in there. I mean, Journey Girl. Yeah, that's Journey Girl. Don't y'all know how to sit down proper? Dang, even a Cabbage Patch had to get laid out. Set someone be still. Whew. That got me sweating. Made my head hurt. All right. I already got the stuff set aside. I'm sending to my mods. Just taking a little bit longer than I expected. Because I want to send them something as well. Because it took on my appreciation. Okay, Antique Girl, you go sit over there. Don't move. Please don't move. Because if you do, you're going to have to go somewhere and it ain't going to be in here with me. I'll put you in my mama's closet. Or put in the bathroom and call it Annabelle. Why am I playing with the dolls? Hey, I need to be putting up my mugs. Okay, my frozen doll. She goes here. No, she's going to go right there where I can see her. With my Twilight movies. Cause you're a superstar. Dang, why do I feel so nauseous? Oh, I probably need to eat something. Pure to the flame. Okay. I'm just running off in my mouth. And no, I do not talk to myself. I'm talking to y'all. Oh, my voice. Okay. Here I go again on my own. What? Oh, shoot. I was gonna do your hair, Maybelline. I can't do put her over there because she shows up more because she's more white looking. For her light skin, she'll show up. I like white bookcases because my dolls of color, they show up more clearly. So that's important to me. So that's why I use white bookcases. So all of my dolls, no matter what their skin color is, they'll show up beautifully. No changing on. That's just the Holly Holly mug. Okay. My little frozen. You know what? You can go over here. Okay, I'll put him there. My cat tries to attack my little bunny. Yeah, I got that cushion for the cushion. I'm gonna let her go between them two. What else? Where did I have this stuff? Oh, up there. Oh my God, who's missing up there? I'm gonna put that dress on someone else. Okay, got the body swaps. Oops, there's that shirt to go on my other Selena. I saw the shorts somewhere. Oh, there is Animal Loving Barbie. Vanessa from New York, if you're watching, here's my Animal Loving Barbie. Look, see? Super long hair. The hair is saran hair. It's expansive. Okay, Element Wild. All right, let's get y'all back together over here. Share, make room for your sister. You got it? Oh, dang. She got to jump off. Okay. Did y'all see the moon rise? I'm kidding. Okay. What is up with you? Dang, I should have put more stuffing in your legs back there. These were my favorite Build-A-Bear when they did this collection. I thought they were so beautiful. And then hubby was deported. But at least I saw his true colors, because he wouldn't have done the things he did here in my face, or he would have got beat down. Oh my God, it's hot. Oh, what Barbie is? Oh, that's Toy Story 4 Barbie. All right, heifers. We're going to put y'all together like this. And I'm going to set you down over here. I had her up there. Do not follow Miss Rosa Parks. Okay, Barbie extra. You go up here, sweetie. Bend your leg. Bend the knee. Bend the knee, bend the knee. She thinks she is. She call my dog ugly. That's terrible. And I like him, though. I'm like, who is she talking to? Who are you talking to? All right, my clothes up. Who are you talking to? Oh my God, did she talk back? Okay, I've been these Barbies I play with. They stay on the bed. The antique Barbie doll clothes. Antique bisque, German bisque doll. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh. Hammer and nails. Don't want to lose that again. Oh my gosh. This day has been exhausting. This is my teddy bear I've had since I was 2 years. No, I'm sorry. I was 3. I've had this since I was 3 years old. My mom had got it for me. Her and my dad went to the nightclub, and I guess she stopped off somewhere and she picked me and my brother one up. My brother doesn't have his, but I've had this since I was 2. Yep. Yeah, I did get a glowworm. I was scared of the dark. I was always scared of the dark. And by the time this came out, God, it was antique. Because they do still sell them. Oh, that's the stuff I got to make that. I'm going to do a video making that antique doll. I'm going to do a video making her a wig. That's my new spray bottle to put water on conditioner for the dolls. So I am going to do a video for the antique bisque doll. I'm going to do a video of how to make a wig. You can also use the same process to make your own wig for any doll. That includes American Girl or whatever. Yeah. Oh, here. You want to give me some nails?
No, I got nothing now.
I'm going to put the mermaid in the bathroom. No, I'm going to put that shelving unit there together when you're done with the hammer. After I clean up, make this look good. And then I'm going to take the stuff out of the bathroom and redo it. I just remembered. I need to take them boxes to the recycling room. That's a feather. That pillow has real feathers in it. Yes, I like pillows. Lots of pillows. All right, I'll put these clothes up. Remote controls. Pajamas. Okay, that's good. Oh my God, Ella Fitzgerald. Where, oh, is it? I guess I stick you right there. Where did I have y'all at? Y'all go down here with Delta. So as you can see, I think that's why I have so much lighting, because yes, I am not too proud to say, or ashamed to say, I am scared of the dark. I do not like to sleep in the dark. I always sleep with some kind of lighting on. I don't know why. I mean, for real. I've had moments where I slept in the dark at the other apartment, so it comes and goes in moments. I think it was when Eric was deported, and I was so used to, after I got married, I was used to being with him. And he got deported, then I was scared to sleep in the dark. I was scared to be by myself. Alright, I'm gonna put her by the tent. Why is the tent not being flat? Oh, that explains it. Okay. I'll slide you on over because I do makeup in the window. As y'all know, I did a video where I did my makeup in the window. But I think it's still up. Then I did another one, but then no, I think I got rid of it. Because I went to the bathroom and showed how I did my hair back and how I add my hair on. I mean, y'all can tell I got long hair, but you know, I like wigs. Period. Okay, I'm gonna fix Marie Grace's hair. I wanna play with her later. Okay, Fluffy. As you see, I have all shabby chic. Oh, snap. Okay, Barbie, get outside over. Your hair's floppy. I bought this. It's so squishy and fluffy. I bought it at Target on clearance over a year ago now. And I liked it because it felt really fluffy and comfy. You know, like, what's it? What, comfort? Okay, Barbies. Y'all go in there. Okay, let's see what movies. That goes in here. Now I have to remember about going to a Home Depot to get some strips of wood. My desk, as y'all can see, yeah, I got my computer up over here in this corner. First, let me get my bed made up right. Oops, that was enough. That was perfect. Okay. Dixie, why are you running? You got extra energy, girl. That's why you're running around here like a baboon. You done flipped your wig. Dixie, the new treat's giving you gas. Are you running from yourself because you can't stand it, girl? Most likely she is. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yes, pajamas. Top drawer. Some of them. No, I'm going to put them in the second one. Oh, the mermaid picture I did. Move that. I'm going to set that up in the bathroom. I have another white bookcase that actually looks like this one. So it's not as wide as that. This one's too wide. So as you can see, I tried to set it up. Why am I doing that? I need to see what I'm showing you. Okay, there. So I have them set up like this. See, they done got drunk and fell over. The Rainbow High girls, I don't know what happened. I think the little Cardi B Jr. got in a fight. She's jumping on that one, showing everything her mama gave her. And so this whole two rows had a fight. They stayed exactly where they are. They stay where they're at. So I just have these here in this little counter, and I put my unicorn over there. So now I have my poster up. Okay, yeah, I'll play with those dolls. I'm gonna put someone else in that dress. Anyway, there is my poster from VAE Toys. It's got nice lights. That's gonna look pretty at nighttime. And there's my VAE case. But when I go to storage, I'm going to take these down and put the other dolls, like Elena and my first edition of Tatiana. I need to get those two. So, and they're going to go up here. So it'll be a line of all VAE. And as the VAE doll line grows, there are more VAE dolls down here too. So literally that whole shelving unit has VAE dolls, except for the very bottom. But as it grows, so will all of this here end up being replaced, the dolls. Here I have my computer set up. So you see, I have some Our Generation, American Girl, Cabbage Patch Antique. See, I have some of that up there. There's a new Tatiana Amber. The other one, of course, she's retired. Yeah. So I have that. There's American Girl repainted. You know, American Girl, I hate the way their body, they need to redo these bodies because these heifers be flopping over. I mean, come on, look at that. I can't make her set up. Look, Our Generation is so cheap. They're like $25, and they know how to sit up like they're supposed to. And look, she will not sit at all. They need to redesign the darn bodies. I cannot make her sit, and I repainted her. And that's Rebecca, one of my faves. So I have a little angel set up. Oh, it looks pretty with the light behind it. And a rose. So there's my computer, kitties. Yep. I got it set up. And yep, I got a sound system. We got the speaker, a speaker. We got that bass space. And this thing gets loud. Oh, yeah. And there's my printer. Anyway, that's how it looks so far. My mom's putting up pictures. I hate it when she puts family pictures on the walls. I agree. They need joints instead of strings. So I have Mako and my other Melina. Both of them are here right beside each other. To me, they're brother and sister. You know, they're twins. Yep. Oh, I forgot to put Ella Fitzgerald because she's going to block my view. Come on. Come on, sister. I'll put you up here. Yes, I have two. Because I thought she was absolutely stunning. I love her joints. I love her hands. Very beautiful and feminine, unlike the Made to Move. Yes. So, you know, I have my Asian thing happening over here. Yes, everyone. Poppy Parker. I need to put this in the sink. See, those are college books as well. Systematic Theology. I have the Bible. I have the Quran. I also have about Chinese, Mandarin. So I have this set up where I set my window and do my makeup. There's the mirror. There's the camping tent for Kara, and forget it. I can't do names. Anyway, that's the hair for the doll right there, the antique doll, the bisque for her. This is going to be her hair, and she's going to have a lace front wig. So, yeah, I'm going to make her lace front wig. I got fabric and stuff to make her new dress. Anyway, I got to put my clothes up. As you see, I'm just like some of y'all. I got stuff everywhere. So I got to, that's what I was doing. I was putting it up. But, yeah, because Our Generation dolls, look at them. They're gorgeous. I love their joints. I wish they would resculpt the hands to be better. But I mean, honestly, the face sculpt is awesome. And the hair is amazing quality. Oh, God. It's such a glorious day. Makes me sick. Sorry, I got that from Hocus Pocus. Let me fix my picture. There we go. My brother got me that. It's a birthday card, and I framed it. I painted the frame white and did turquoise because I thought it was that card is art. It is art, darling. See, this is why I like white bookcases.
You need a new frame? I'm putting my stuff in brown.
Why you could do brown? I like white because
I figured brown is gonna good with the wall.
the reason I got white because when I had that, remember when I had my brown china cabinets, my black Barbies, you couldn't notice them. They blended with the background. So that's when I started getting white bookcases. So all of my black Barbies will show up, so they don't, and like even tanned ones. What do you think of my room now? It looks okay. Mama, I'm a designer with a toy company. You know that happens.
Really?
So I still got this.
That.
Oh, Jesus.
When you gonna work on my bookshelf? Donna's gonna, when London comes, he don't get it, he gonna bring you that glass. desk.
That's my mom's natural hair color. See, you can tell she's Native American. I don't know why she didn't like smiling because she's freaking gorgeous. That's my brother, and that's him now. Pretty much.
Well, my mom and I.
How old were you here? 15? 16?
No, I was in my early 20s. That's
What?
before y'all was ever thought of.
Well, I know that. That was my grandpa. He's Native American. And my mom, that's her natural hair color, jet black. That's me and mom. Ugh, I messed up my eyebrows. I was using a razor and shaved them off and had to pencil them in. I get Chicanas out. So yeah, oh God, all of that's got to go to recycling place.
Well, I took most of them down for you.
There's my brother and mom again. So kind of like all of us. Yeah. Boxes and boxes of pictures. A lot of my brother. Oh my
A
God.
lot of you too. I just ain't put them up. I got to get Gamma to pull the bed down. It won't
Tanya
move
Tucker.
on that carpet.
Autographed. I am sweating bad. It's
I
from
got a
moving all
pretty
that
picture
stuff.
over here.
Oh my, what are you talking about? Hey, Tequila.
This one.
Oh, yeah. This is me with auburn hair.
That's your great granddaddy.
People thought me and my brother were twins, didn't
That's
they,
your
Mama?
great granddaddy.
So, yeah. Senior year.
I want to put this one up over the bed.
Oh, God, I remember that. Look, I didn't even do that right. You can see the Barbie doll's legs in the picture. Because that was Skipper and that was Barbie.
What was that?
I don't know.
There's my daddy's daddy. Look how tall he is, Donna. That's where y'all get all your being tall from.
I'm taller than my brother.
Ah,
Oh, there's Dad. So we're supposed to put this together for my mom, for her to set her television on instead of using this bracket thing. So I haven't got to it yet. My brother, and then my mom does her and her chihuahua wall. And that's her and her sisters. I just don't do pictures. What time is it?
2 o'clock.
I can feel it too. This I'm gonna take back to storage. These things, I don't even want those books. I don't read them. Oh, I need my paper for the printer. Okay, we got Barbie. Yes, I have her. I'm rebooting her hair. I have one in the box for eBay. Vintage Barbie. Oh, that's Western Barbie. I think I got her for $1. There's Kissing Barbie. Poor thing. She ain't got no hair. Oh, it's been cut. Who is that? Oh, that's Day Tonight Barbie. And then there's a body with a broken neck, which is Superstar Barbie.
Wonder
Oh,
why they
Animal
put a
Loving
fan
Barbie.
over here in the kitchen.
Probably could have figured that one was enough to blow these two vents and to switch air around.
It's hot in here, girlfriend.
I like my room. See, Dixie's happy. It's very shabby chic. See, yeah, I don't really, the only picture I have of people are this one, the one of me and Shirley Caesar. Yeah. So that's the only picture I have on the wall of a person. That's it. Okay, so I think we are done. We got this all done. So I am exhausted and I'm going to put my clothes up in the drawer and I'm done. I'm going to charge my phone. And later on, probably tonight, I'm probably going to come back live tonight and do a video of making a wig for the Antique Biz doll. I'm not gonna promise because I keep saying I'm gonna do something, and then I don't do it. So I can't make a promise, but I know I'm going to enjoy that right there. Yeah. So I'm trying to get it straight before the end. I gotta get all of this done before the end of the month. So when Ellen comes, I can show her how I got the dolls displayed and done. But I also want her to know how much I love them and appreciate them. Totally. So I gotta redo that. And then everything I've already said, I've got to do it. So anyway, bye everyone. I will see you soon. Thank you for tuning in for, oh my God, almost 2 hours. What a video. Yeah. All right, how many of you, okay, this dress, y'all know what dress, it goes to that silkstone. It's going on some Barbie. I just haven't figured it out yet, which one. But it's definitely gonna be one with pink lips and with makeup on. I thought about her. Oh, thank you, Kirsty, I'm sorry. Thank you, Kirsty. It was an exhausting video. There were things that happened I did not expect, which that happens in every one of my live videos. Just all things. Yes, I'm still doing commissions just because I'm officially a designer who designs with the dolls with this toy company. I still do other people's dolls. I am not a come on. I don't think I'm famous or anything like that. I'm not above that. I still do makeovers for people. Absolutely. The graceful, they are graceful, but I think they should more look the hands for our generation should look more like toddler dolls. But yes, just all things. I am doing commissions. Contact me at Selena's Glamorous Dollhouse on Facebook or Selena's Glamorous Dollhouse on Instagram because I receive notifications about them. Okay, I'm just flipping through. I got all. Well, look, I mean, then someone said like with the glove worm. I have an antique bisque German doll from the 1800s. I can appreciate dolls of all periods, from every because Ma, Lord have mercy. All right, y'all, I gotta go. They done heard you fart and burp in this video in 2 hours time. I swear you ain't using a fizzle. Lord have mercy.
Donna, come here.
No, all right, everybody, I gotta go. Bye.